welcome to Too Much Information.
Thank
Um, I'm very happy to have um, you here. One question I did want to ask you is how do you want to be
my
referred?
uh, I don't know, my name is Sabian, but I know a lot of people call me uberhuman because I don't
Yes,
have my profile.
yes.
Sabian. So,
Perfect. All right, Sabian. Perfect. All right. But welcome. Thank you for doing this. I really appreciate it. Um, Yeah, I really appreciate it. I'm looking forward to speaking to you. We had a small talk before, and I was just saying that you're especially I only know you through your Instagram page, and it's really inspirational. Um, I've got a big belly. My belly's big, so when I see people like you that can do crazy things with their body and are training their body so hard, it's inspiring to me. Um, so yeah, I'm looking forward to finding out how how you became you. I want to start from um, family. So you as a child,
yeah,
um, what was your house like? How was you? What was how were you raised in your house?
well, I was brought up in a single parent household.
Okay.
Uh, my sister, up until I was about 4 or so, and my dad wasn't really around so much.
Right.
Uh, my first memory of my mum and dad was physical altercation between them, really. And that was like the last time I really saw my dad. And I saw him again at 11. What helped you? But my childhood really was the typical black family, breaking the bed line type of thing. Which I
Right.
felt like
Right.
mum was always working. I spent a lot of time in other people's homes while my mum was working. It was me and my
Yeah.
sister would be, or my sister would be looking after
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
So my home environment was my home environment is very much attached to some choices that my mum made in terms of religion and who we assigned ourselves to. And we assigned ourselves to, or my mum assigned herself to the Nation of Islam. Do you know
Okay.
that?
Of
Yeah.
course. Yeah.
So from basically the age of 4 to the age of 15, I was pretty much in the Nation of Islam. They schooled by them, so I had a black school.
Wow.
3 or 4 days a week there were meetings. So in the
Yeah.
evenings, I'd be in school in the day, and in the evenings, I'd be in meetings.
Wow.
And we learned that military routine, so drilling, martial arts, sports, fitness, and all that stuff. So, but I was one of the first children of the Nation of Islam in the UK. So I was kind of pushed a little bit more as a role model to the other children that came along. Who were
Right.
kind of
Right.
is had that pressure, so to speak, without
Mm.
realizing pressure to be the top, to be the best, to be the first, to be, you understand? So we're doing something like martial art. If everyone else had 50 kicks, I had 100 or 150 kicks, you understand? So
Hmm.
I was getting pushed further and further than everyone else. And I suppose I didn't really realize it back then, but that type of schooling, that type of education kind of conditioned the way I think and act
How so?
now.
How? In what way?
Well, you have, for instance, I'm very much a subscriber to instead of being in the war zone, being rising above that in order to see the whole landscape. So my life is and how I see the world is I can't what humans tend to do is we minimize our lives to our little universe of what is
Okay.
relevant to us. So you want to get a job, you want to get a degree, you want to get a house, but it's relevant to you and your family, your close ones. That's all you care about. Until the outside world intervenes into that. Then you protest. Then you
Okay.
understand.
Yeah.
But prevent that. I prefer to have an eagle's eye perspective where I can see the whole world for what it is. And that is something that I learned from being in the Nation of Islam. You know, many people call them conspiracy theories. We call us conspiracy theories. Many people would say that we're black supremacists and all this stuff. But in reality, what we wanted was black community. We wanted something for black people to own. We wanted a black community, but the only community that has nothing. You understand? But that to everyone else is being anti-Semitic, that to everyone else is being racist, that to everyone else is being a black supremacist, you understand?
Yeah, of
But why
course.
stepped up and said that we're just far right, it's our politics, our patriots, you understand? But why
Mm-hmm.
we're not allowed to have that same sense of ownership for ourselves, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So um, with that, the Nation of Islam schooling was very much drilled. Maths, we were studying maths, GCSE maths at 8, 9, 10, 11, you understand? You know, so in a sense, I would call it, from my research in later years, you
Yeah.
call it hot tub babies, right?
Okay.
Or test tube babies, so to speak. They're created in a volume, right, in a vacuum, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there is no access to them from the outside world, and they have no access to the outside world. You
Mm-hmm.
understand? So
Yeah.
that's how childhood I would go through in my childhood. So I
Wow.
would a bit of a vacuum, a very unique vacuum,
Yeah.
because we had schools, black children, black teachers, we studied maths and English well advanced and well ahead of our years. We're studying black history and things that most black people in this country don't know. You
Mm-hmm.
understand that we're going really deep. We're understanding how movies have subliminal messages in them, cartoons, films, and like that. Understanding the narrative of stories and the fact that movies take from history, they take from human nature, they take from human behavior, and then they throw it right back at us. You
Yeah.
understand? For
Mm-hmm.
watching it and trying it, not realizing that it's a mirror of your own life. You understand? So that ego eyes view is,
Mm-hmm.
that's how I would say the Nation of Islam is a gift and a curse in that respect. You
Yeah.
understand?
Yeah.
When I left the Nation of Islam, I didn't really know how to interact with
I can
children.
imagine. I can imagine. That must have been so difficult.
I want to talk about politics. I want to talk about what Bill Clinton's doing. My friends want to talk. Unfortunately, I'm black. Unfortunately, in this country, it's unfortunate to be black.
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Yeah.
and with that in mind, you have to keep that awareness that you can't get too comfortable in this
Mm.
country. You
It's
understand?
yeah. It's that's very interesting. Um, because I feel like I am very comfortable. There are some similarities in the way that we were both raised.
Yeah. Okay.
So um, I was raised. My mum was Rasta when I was raised. She was a
Uh,
Rastafarian.
okay.
All
Okay.
right. But then
Nation of Islam, we had a lot of
yeah.
ism going out
But
with us.
yeah.
Yeah.
But then as I grew a little bit, she became a Muslim for a little while.
Yeah.
Um, but more of a Orthodox Muslim rather than
Yeah.
nation. But I had a
Okay.
but I had an uncle that was Nation of Islam, and
Okay.
he was a member of the mosque in Stoke Newington, so that's
So
East London.
London under Wayne.
Maybe.
Okay.
So I went to a few meetings,
Yeah.
um, but I was a wild boy. I was an indisciplined boy. Um, it was too rigid for me. You understand? So
Yeah.
I was invited. I'm 38,
But okay, so yeah, you would have been a bit older, so you'd have, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah,
and at this time, these times I was probably, I don't know, 14, 15, maybe that
okay,
sort of
so
age.
yeah,
So
I'm five.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
three.
How old are you?
I was three. I'm 32,
Okay,
and a couple of weeks. I'm like, yeah, I'm 32 in a couple
okay.
of not down. I didn't make anything. Yeah,
Yeah. So it's interesting for me as somebody who, I don't know, had a little peek in. I
yeah,
saw a little bit.
yeah,
It's when I'm hearing you speak about your your life inside the nation as a young person. Um, it makes me it it fills in a lot of gaps because it makes me understand because I saw the FOI. um
yeah,
I saw the youngsters
yeah,
marching and all of that
yeah,
stuff. And from the outside looking in, it was amazing. It was
yeah.
something that
It
I
was, it was an
aspired.
amazing thing for black children to be grown up in that environment.
I can
Yeah,
imagine. I can
that's how
imagine.
we achieved it. Yeah.
Yes,
Anyway,
but
cool. Always.
Uh, but this is the thing. But when you're young and you look
Yeah,
at it, when you're young and you see, like you said, you see the
the romantic,
shininess.
the
Ah,
romantic.
thank you. Yes, you romanticize it. Now as an adult and I look back, it's something that I'd never thought about. Um, what it was actually like for a young person in the nation. So I didn't know that until you said it about yourself. But now when I think, um, I didn't want the discipline of state school.
Mm,
I fought against the constraints and tightness of state school,
yeah,
and there wasn't really any rules,
uh,
you know. So to be a an aware black child,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
because that's what you were raised to be,
yeah,
and then to be constrained and restricted from expressing your your true self or your questions that you may
yeah,
have,
yeah.
because that's what I got from it. I never, yeah,
Been given an identity, so to
right,
speak.
right.
Yeah.
And I
And
think, yeah, go on.
uh, what I'm currently noticing is that yeah, we're given an identity by with good intentions.
Hmm.
Initially, but that identity that I was given was based around war, was based around struggle, was
Yeah,
based around.
yeah.
Unfortunately, that was the times I grew up. I grew up in the 90s, and 90s were not easy for black people in the UK.
Hmm.
Started
Yeah.
a lot of deaths in custody, that stuff. There were a
Hmm.
lot of my childhood was marching, protest, police beef, like people having fights with racist white man and that stuff. I'm 13, so why am I fighting with racist dudes? So I'm like,
Yeah,
understand
yeah, yeah, yeah.
that? It's just that it does put an identity on you.
Hmm.
The identity then becomes what you tend to spend the rest of your life fighting.
Hmm.
In order to, when that war is done, if you're a wartime child or you're a war veteran, if you've gone through various tours of duty, when you come back, you can't re-immerse yourself into normal life because war and you're like all you know is war, all you know
Mm.
is being on edge, being alert, that stuff. Understand? So you seeing people comfortable, they're relaxing and they're living their life. If you come back from killing 500 men, seeing people blown up, and you're like, this is not it, man. We need to get ready. There's a war coming. There's a war coming. That's how you're trained. There's
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
see. So for me now, it's like, okay, cool. it's kind of funny because lockdown has put me my head right back into that zone. I'm not gonna
Yeah,
lie.
yeah.
I'm like, wow, the way they're moving right now, it feels like how I felt in the 90s. You
Mhm.
understand?
Mhm.
I'm not too sure about this.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah, yeah.
when the war is over, we have to learn how to live again. And for me, for the last
Mhm.
15 years, that war has been over. So the last 15 years, I've been trying to learn how to live again.
So when you were being taught back in the school in the Nation of Islam school, there was no special effort made towards helping you in any way. Um,
No, I didn't get any support.
wow.
One, I don't really know what my mum told the teachers about my
Yeah,
deafness. But,
yeah. Mhm.
mm, two, the classes were very small.
Right.
There was max 12 students in the class,
Mhm.
which meant that the student pretty much got that individual attention in a
Okay.
classroom. So it basically nullified the need for me to feel like I
Yeah.
didn't do it. That we were in classrooms where the sound wasn't bouncing around, it stayed in the room. You understand?
Mhm.
So it, things like that helps me to be able
Mhm.
to adapt to learn to adapt to that. But that learning system was very unique because how we learned in the school and how we learned in the college were totally different things. You
Mhm.
understand? So
Mhm.
it was again something hard for me to transition
So
to.
in what way was it different apart from the classroom
So
size?
okay, so we were considered students, not pupils,
Okay.
because pupils are just people who learn how to regurgitate information.
Mhm.
Students are people who study information and
Mhm.
take from that information what benefits them.
Okay. Excuse me.
So we were taught, we would take one word, and this one word that always comes into my head whenever I think of um, my native school. It's this one word, and we had a class where my teacher it's like an English technical class, and what
Okay.
he would do, he'd give us one word and challenge us to find up to as many different ways that one word or as many different contexts you can use or apply that word to. So it could be this one word that always comes to my head is ghastly.
Mhm.
How many different contexts can you apply that word? In a sentence, if you change the word around and that stuff, how does the context change? And in doing so, it makes you understand how people can use words in deceptive ways. You understand?
Mhm.
And so, in that respect, we were taught in a way that was more to do with being free. We were free to explore. My mum always used to buy books from the Thames South Bank
Okay.
bookstore. There's always a bookstore along the Thames open.
Mhm.
Every Sunday we'd go down there, we'd buy a book. Now mum's got like a library, house full of books. As a child, I would read through all the books to be thinking about, the Industrial Revolution, be thinking about the heart, be thinking about biology, um, things about books about law, religion, philosophy, anything you can think of. These are the type of books I read. I didn't read story books growing up.
Mhm.
I read non-fiction.
Yeah.
I was the kid who'd be on the bus trying to read, the Guardian, the broadsheet paper, kind of flick it out
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
read it. That was me. That I understood those words because I was taught in that way. So I
Mhm.
was take information and extract from that information what suits me. Whereas in state education, children are taught to regurgitate information for the purpose of quotas, grades,
Mhm.
percentage. We don't hear, we are getting healthy, conscientious students. We're
Yeah.
getting the grades, 87% in A grade, 92% in B grades, and that's how children
Yeah.
are being commercialized. So then you have to then question, are children healthily being developed within that system? For me, whether I would say I was mentally healthily developed, physically I was healthily developed, but I still went through things that caused my adulthood to kind of go upside down, you understand? And that's where no matter what system you choose, there's always going to be pitfalls.
Okay. Now that's what I was. That's exactly what I was gonna. That's what I was gonna ask you, because I was gonna ask whether there was, whether you thought one was not better but more effective
Yeah,
than the other.
I believe in terms of education,
Yeah.
in terms of understanding as a black person, as a black child, in terms of education, um, in terms of identity, self-identity, and sense of just having that wholesomeness of spirit to know that no matter what you're gonna, when you make a decision, you are going to achieve that thing.
Yeah.
I would say the way I was taught was beneficial. In socialization,
All right. Okay.
I would say state school is more beneficial. You understand? But because obviously I didn't really play with children who were in the Nation of Islam as a child. I only really played. And when we were with other children, because of the way we acted around each other, we were very protective of the girls, and stuff. So if any kid come and try and bother the girls, we'd be like, get out there, man, leave the girls alone. Understand? So we were very protective because that's how we were brought up in that sense. So in a sense, I would consider myself almost like a war child, if I said it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Side of making a decision to be pro-black in the UK or even any Western country is that you are going to face resistance from the state, face resistance from the government. And my childhood is riddled with resistance. I'm sure if you saw the video I posted of the Stephen Lawrence inquiry.
No.
There's a video on my Instagram I posted of Stephen Lawrence inquiry, and the Nation of Islam were attending on behalf of Stephen Lawrence. And there's footage of the police attacking them, trying to stop them from coming into the inquiries and stuff. But it was generally a show of force. And any time we stepped out, anytime those men of the Nation of Islam stepped out, they stepped out in great numbers. There were maybe 200-300 of them. If they're going down for black men and beaten up by the police, there's 200-300 black men in suits and bow ties going down to the station.
Come on, yeah.
That was what we had in this country. So a lot of people feel like we don't have that here, but we did have that. And that's what I grew up knowing.
Yeah.
So downside for me was growing up in a life for pretty much like, I would say, we were Palestinians living in Israel. We were getting bombarded left, right, and center. Our schools were protesting because the councils, were finding obnoxious reasons of to shut down the school. Ofsted would come down and say, you're not teaching the children to the standard that they're meant to be, but we were teaching above the standard. We put above the standard. So there were a lot of things that I'm proud to be, or I'm proud to be a member of the Nation of Islam. I'm proud to be raised of the Nation of Islam because, like I said, it gave me that sense of purpose. It's given me the knowledge and the insights and the power to be able to inspire someone like yourself growing up